Barbenheimer, the latest and greatest cultural phenomenon to take the world by storm. It has it all: high fashion, children's toys, history, death, and atomic bombs. So, what is Barbenheimer and what should we know about it? With the release of two highly anticipated films, the Barbie movie and Oppenheimer, happening on the same day this summer, people have gone wild. The Barbie movie has had a magnificent press tour, and Oppenheimer, well, all of Oppenheimer's press has come from the Barbie movie. You'd think that the two films would have drastically different target audiences, but the internet has gone feral and taken to planning the entire day centered around the two films. Many say they'll strut out of Oppenheimer in dull, academic 1940s-style clothing and proceed to remove the garments to reveal a popping, colorful ensemble inspired by Barbie. Will I be watching both films? I'm not sure because I don't have a job and I'm about to be in crippling debt, but I'll definitely watch Barbie. Not because I don't think Oppenheimer will be good, I'm pumped as hell for that. It's just that Barbie will have spoilers and, well, the general events of Oppenheimer happened 60 years ago. Also, my friends and I will all be dressing up for Barbie, so hype for that. So, what should we know before going into these films? As for Barbie, the film is directed by Greta Gerwig, who is known mostly for her directorial work on Little Women and Lady Bird, which was voted as one of the top 10 films of 2017 by Time magazine. Her directorial style influences her films to be based on her own experiences as life, and then they, quote, spin out into their own orbit, end quote. She is known for encouraging her actors to use their own personalities in their performances. Granted, she has actors stick to the script fairly closely. The cast will feature Margot Robbie as Barbie herself and Ryan Gosling as Ken. The casting of the two faced some backlash in the sense that people think Margot and Ryan are too old to be Barbies, but the backlash specifically faced at Ryan, which was a change of pace from this backlash often being directed towards women. But the film has also received a lot of praise for trying to break the stigma that aging is bad and could make you unfit for certain things in life. The cast is built up of several other notable actors such as Will Ferrell as the CEO of Mattel, Simu Liu, who has received praise recently for his role in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, Emma Mackley, a lead actress in the hit Netflix series Sex Education, and Michael Cera from several films including Superbad. Also listed in the casting are several other actors from Sex Education, including Ncuti Gatwa and Connor Swindles. Also, John Cena and Dua Lipa are listed in the cast. Dua Lipa is supposedly going to be a mermaid Barbie. There are a few rumors of surprise appearances in the film, including our very own Duolingo. In a response to a comment on TikTok, Duo said that they cannot talk about if they met Dua Lipa, their celebrity crush, at the premiere of the movie, which gives the impression that they signed an NDA and they must have met Dua while filming the movie. The soundtrack of the film has also been released with songs by many A-list artists including Dua Lipa, Lizzo, Charlie XCX, Nicki Minaj, Ava Max, Ice Spice, Khalid, 50/50, Kid Laroi, Billie Eilish, and many others. Specifically, Dua Lipa's Dance the Night was the first single to be announced in the movie, and Minaj and Ice Spice released a song together called Barbie World, which samples the hit Barbie Girl song in the background. The plot of the film appears to follow Barbie as she enjoys perfect life in Barbie Land, but then begins to enter an existential crisis as she questions her own mortality at one of her everyday giant blow-up parties with all of the Barbies and planned choreography and a bespoke song. Apparently, things aren't exactly perfect, and every day hasn't been the best day ever in Barbie Land, as Barbie experiences cold showers, falls off her roof instead of floating gracefully down, and the worst of all, her heels have fallen flat. Because of this, Barbie makes her way to visit a, strange Barbie, who appears to represent a Barbie that has had her hair cut and face drawn on by a little kid. This Barbie has some unfound knowledge of the real world and tells Barbie that she needs to decide between staying in Barbie Land or making a journey to the real world to find the source of her problems. Barbie, being Barbie, quickly chooses to stay in Barbie Land, but in reality, Barbie had no choice and is off to the real world in her pink convertible. This is where Ken makes a classic Ken appearance and pops out of the back of Barbie's car to reveal that he's tagging along. In the real world, Ken and Barbie find themselves in an unfamiliar place and at the center of attention with their brightly colored outfits and lack of understanding of the real world, which leads to trouble for them, and attention from the CEO of Mattel. From the trailer, we also hear a few lines spoken by Ruth Handler, the late inventor of Barbie, as she says, quote, "Humans only have one ending. Ideas live forever," end quote. Relating back to the themes of mortality, growing old, and how to live with one's own mortality that the film has explored with Barbie's crisis and the casting of so-called older actors for Barbie and Ken. I think Barbie is going to be an important movie for those who grew up playing with the dolls, and it will carry some deeper messages about the progression of life within all of the fun and comedic events of the film. Now, to get to the more explosive side of things, Oppenheimer is directed by Christopher Nolan, another notable director who is known for his work on many other films with complex storylines, such as Memento, which gained international recognition for its unique storytelling techniques, The Dark Knight trilogy, Inception, Interstellar, and Dunkirk. His work often ranks among the best films of their times, and often includes themes of epistemology and existentialism, with many exploring ethics, time, memory, and personal identity. Many of his films feature images and concepts inspired by math, unconventional narrative structures, practical special effects, and large format film photography. Knowing this, Oppenheimer was shot in 2 aspect ratios. To get the most of the film, you should watch on an IMAX 70mm screen with a 1.43:1 ratio, while if you watch on the standard 1.9:1 ratio, you will not see as much in the frame. Though, don't let this stress you out too much, as the creators ensure everything important happens in the middle of the screen and will not be cut out. The cast of the film features Cillian Murphy as the lead J. Robert Oppenheimer, and other notable actors including Florence Pugh as Jean Tatlock, a psychiatrist and the love interest of Oppenheimer, Robert Downey Jr. as Louis Strauss, a high-ranking Navy official, and the rest of the cast also includes Matt Damon, Rami Malek, Devin Bostick, most known for his role as Roderick in Diary of a Wimpy Kid, and Josh Peck. Oppenheimer's score is written by Ludwig Göransson, who also composed the score of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. And the plot is set to follow J. Robert Oppenheimer and his role in the development of the atomic bomb known as the Manhattan Project. In 1939, the scientific community discovered that German scientists had discovered how to split uranium atoms, and fears spread that they'd soon learn how to harness that energy to create a weapon of unspeakable damage. Hence, the Manhattan Project was born. The project started at a few research universities and expanded to testing sites as scientists made breakthroughs. And while 120,000 worked on the project, only a smaller inner circle knew what the project was actually for. On July 16, 1945, the bomb was tested, igniting a flash that could be seen for 200 miles. A mushroom cloud that reached 40,000 feet caused homes within 100 miles to have their windows blown out, and a crater half a mile wide was left behind. We know the history, but Oppenheimer will take us closer and give us a personal perspective on one of the most dangerous inventions of mankind. Though history is often only told in part, with some details left out to give audiences a certain impression of what occurred. While sometimes these details are minor, it's important to look at everything from as many dimensions as you can. So, some other important things to consider from the historical side of the Manhattan Project include the health impacts the project had on US citizens, the impact gathering the resources for the bombs had on people, and how the bombs created an unequal power dynamic on the global scene that impacts us to this day. I'm unsure if Oppenheimer will explore all of these things. It's unlikely, and that makes sense to me, but we're just going to talk about them here for now. People who lived downwind from the testing site were exposed to a harmful amount of fallout, which later resulted in detrimental health impacts like cancer. And most of the uranium that was used to build the first atomic bombs was mined in the Democratic Republic of Congo, which was under Belgian colonial power at the time, and much of the mining was essentially slave labor. Finally, while the development of the bomb started as a race against evil, it was finished for power. The war in Europe had ended on May 8, 1945, and the threat of Nazi atomic bombs was no longer much of a thing. And a few months later, the bomb was first tested on American soil, and unbeknownst to the inner circle working on the bomb, they had been infiltrated by a Soviet spy. After the test, 70 scientists from the project signed a petition asking US President Truman not to drop the bomb on Japan, yet it was dropped anyways. In today's world, the fear and threat of nuclear war loom, and states that have nuclear weapons hold significant power over others. Countries without nuclear weapons have pushed for international treaties to ban nuclear weapons, but countries with nuclear weapons have opposed them. In the end, the development of these weapons, while maybe having a story rooted in the right place, ends up creating dangerous and potentially unstable environments for the global community. And every single time, those who are on the losing end of these weapons and wars are the people. Anyways, I hope you all have a wonderful day and are just as excited as I am for these films to release. Let me know what you're thinking about the movies and Barbenheimer as a phenomenon in the comments below, and let me know if there are any films you think I should look at next. As always, be good people, love others, and love yourselves. Peace.